Welcome, everyone, to the Digital Collective. I'm your host, James Hicks from Hicks New Media. And on this show, we focus and talk with and about the people, platforms, and tools that are making major positive strides within the technology sector. Today, my guest is Johanna Romero. She is better known as Jojo the Techie. She has been in the technology industry for close to 2 decades, right? She started out on the iOS side, but transitioned to Chrome OS and all things Google back around 2012. She spends her time educating people on the capabilities of Chromebooks and the ease of integration and the usage of the Google Apps ecosystem. That's what her YouTube channel focuses on. That's what she writes about on the Chrome. Oh, gosh, what's the website? I forgot the website already. We're going to talk about
It's
that. Don't worry about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got a question about that, we're going to get into Google. We're going to get into Google I/O. All things. She may get me to switch from an iOS device to a Pixel. I don't know. We'll see, though. Let's get into it. Chrome Unbox. Get it right, James. That's the name. Give the old guy, cut me some slack, right? Again, I don't know what's going on. I'm still going to blame it on sickness or whatever the case may be. Jojo the
Hello.
Tech. What it do? What it do? Jojo the Tech.
Hey, doing good?
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you for taking some time to have this conversation. I knew that after IO, I wanted to bring you on, hopefully, to talk about all things IO and all things Google. And I bounce back and forth, right, between iOS and desire for Android. I get that gas, right? I get that gear acquisition syndrome. I start looking at things and saying, man, I sure do like what Google is doing. They pulling at the want strings a lot of times when they release something. But
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that. We'll see if you can get me to go for one of these new phones. But I gave a little bit of a monologue in terms of who you are, but no one can do their origin story better than themselves. If you don't mind telling folks who it is that you are, if you don't mind.
Well, like you said, I'm Joanna, also known as Jojo the Techie on my channel. I started working on the IT field about 16 years ago. Kind of like started working in that field late in life. I didn't really know what I was going to do out of college. Worked around in like different fields. None of it felt right, and eventually landed in IT, which is where I belonged, where I was supposed to be in the first place, and worked for one company for 15 years, starting from the help desk to desktop support manager, help desk manager, just different positions in the same company, working, just pretty much helping people, onboarding people to our systems, making sure that they, create their passwords, making sure that um, all the hardware is working correctly, managing all the PC techs. It's a global company, so I was managing the PC techs at all the sites. And I think it was in 2008, 2007 that I started getting into Chromebooks. Chromebooks came out and it interested me. I've always had an affinity for like the underdogs, for things that just come out that people like dismiss. And I said, wait a minute, it's not just a browser. Let me take a closer look at this. And I just fell in love with it. My goal was that I could do with the Chromebook what other people couldn't do.
Mm.
So I started, just hacking away at the Chromebook, trying to connect to this, trying to do that. And eventually I made my workstation a full Chromebook workstation. So
Okay.
right now, because I am also a content creator, I have both a Mac and a Chromebook because I do need Final Cut Pro, which unfortunately Chromebooks are not there yet with video
I was gonna say
editing.
that Final Cut Pro on a Chromebook, not yet, but okay,
Not yet,
okay.
but there's really it's we're getting there though. It's we'll talk about that, but it's gonna happen. So I started kind of getting curious about the Android side of things. I've always been, since the first iPhone, I've always bought it. I had from the first iPhone up to the iPhone 10.
Okay,
Every year
okay.
I would upgrade every year, every year, every year. But when the Pixel came out and everybody was saying, "Oh, this is the iPhone of Androids," I said, well, maybe now's the time that I could try it out. As working in IT, people will come up with their phones. They will show me their Androids or
Mm-hmm.
Samsungs, and they're like, how do I do this? I'm like, I don't know how to do Android.
I don't know
I was
what
like,
you're
no,
talking
this
about,
this
right?
can't be. I have to be able to help my users.
Mm,
So I bought a Pixel from eBay. I think it was the Pixel 2. And I had an iPhone and a Pixel, and eventually I just transitioned full time Pixel.
love
And from the Pixel 2, I've been just a Pixel girl now.
it. So let me ask you this: Are you a Pixel? You said Pixel, or are you Android? Right? Does it matter? You're not like Samsung or LG. Well, they
Pixel.
you straight
I'm
OG
Pixel.
OG
Yes,
Android OS, right? Straight
I
from Google.
I did try an HTC phone, back in the day, and I tried a Samsung, but I was very upset about the fact that I couldn't get the latest version
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
Android. So that's why I stick to Pixels. That's how you're gonna make sure that you get the latest and greatest.
That and that's an interesting caveat, right? Appreciate you going into that in that description, and that's kind of why I asked, right? That's been one of the things that's deterred me from moving to the other side. So I worked for full disclaimer. I worked for Apple for 10 years. I got Steve Jobs quotes on my office in here right here, and I've had my unofficial one-on-one with him while he was still alive, and I went down to Infinite Loop.
Wow.
I got my first iPhone mounted on the wall right there, right? But I am appreciative as a technologist, as you, of what Google is doing and what they've done with the Android operating system. Full customization, ability to do so much with the environment, make it your own, right? Your device doesn't look like everyone else's device. And when you start deploying widgets and when you start deploying all of the other capabilities, that's the draw to that ecosystem and that environment. I almost try to steer people away from thinking that it's less secure, to be honest, because there's always that conversation, right? It's less secure because you can side load applications and things of that nature. But talk to me about what was the draw to you from going from an iOS device, if you were there for so long. What was the thing that turned you into, as you said, the Android girl?
For me, it was mostly a practicality because I worked at a company where everything that we used was Google. So we had migrated from Microsoft, Outlook, all that stuff. We had migrated to Google Apps and Gmail as I guess, a productivity suite for the company. So it just felt more practical for me to have a phone that had everything already kind of built in. It was already tied to my accounts at work,
Mm-hmm.
and having an iPhone, there was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of jump hoops to jump through in order
Right.
to get my stuff that I needed for work. With the Pixel, I was able to just have everything right there. But that's how it started. But then I fell in love with the camera. That was the first thing that the
Yeah.
Pixel 2
Listen,
just
no, yeah,
had.
don't sleep on the camera and the opposite. That's true. Okay. Okay.
And not even the camera, it's mostly just the camera software, because the camera is not like, it's not the best camera. It's just the software. The AI processing is incredible. And I think that at this point, Apple and Google are just like competing. Like they just released similar features.
Right.
One does this, the other one does it the next year, and it feels like we're right there. We're just competing at this point.
Yeah. And,
So
it's amazing. It's good for us, the consumer. And let me backtrack and interject. We're using some technology today that we're allowing both of our communities to see this stream live. So welcome JoJo's community to this, and my community are seeing you as well. So thank goodness and thank God for that community and that engagement. But talk about that software piece on the photo side, because what Google has done is really groundbreaking and leaps and bounds even above Apple. Look, I'm a fanboy. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid, like I said, for a long time. But even before what they've done recently with the Real Tone initiative, but just the fact that
yes,
Google Photos allowed you to have, if you had a Pixel, you were able to store the full resolution images on the website and within the platform. Talk a little bit about that, because again, you mentioned that specifically about the photos piece, and that's,
yes.
look, we don't use our phones to make phone calls. Come on. That's not
Who
even.
does that? Yeah.
Yeah, we're using these phones to watch video, watch YouTube, and to take pictures. So talk a little bit about
Um,
that a little bit.
All right. Well, for me, I have kids, so for me, taking photos, I have a son that plays baseball, so I'm like the mom that's always like recording every single time that he's at bat and every time that he's on base. So for me, taking photos and taking good videos was very important. The Pixel, with the Pixel, I think it was the Pixel 2 or the Pixel, yeah, the Pixel 2, I think was the one that had this amazing capability that the photos that you saw after you took the picture, it was just like an amazing quality, even better quality than iPhones. And recently, every year they've kind of been improving on that. Even if they keep the same hardware, the software keeps getting better. So every year you keep getting better photo quality with a Pixel. With the Pixel 6, they released what they're calling real tone, which is they have a color scale, a skin tone scale called a monk skin tone tail, skin tone scale
Yes,
that
say that
they are.
three times fast, right?
Yes, right. Monk skin tone scale that they developed, kind of like just to make sure that every variation of every pigmentation gets represented. I myself, I have a mixed family, so for me, when we take pictures as a family, it could go either
You
way.
don't know what
I
you're gonna
could
get
be
sometimes. Okay.
I could be a ghost, and then everyone else in the picture is, very dark, or it just could be a really weird mix. But with real tone, you get a tone that's closer to your actual skin tone if I were looking at you with my eyes. Recently also, that was a Pixel 6 exclusive, so if unless you had a Pixel 6, you really couldn't try that out. But
Hmm.
now they released that same technology in Google Photos. So even if you have an iPhone or whatever phone you have, doesn't have to be a Pixel, and you take a photo and you upload it to Google Photos, you can apply a filter on it that applies the same technology
That's
and
huge.
fixes up the skin tones, gives it's a filter, so it's not going to be perfect,
Right.
but it works really well.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
mean,
pleased with the
Google
results.
Photos, old school Google Photos. Yeah, a lot of us use Lightroom. A lot of us use a lot of these other platforms to work and do post processing on our photos. But Google Photos, old school, but been around for a while. And we were talking about this before we went online. Google would typically make available those capabilities only the Pixel devices or only the Android devices. But so to hear them saying that no, even you on the iOS side of the aisle have access to this capability. Yeah, again, it's only a filter, and but we still don't have access to all full resolution photos in Google Photos online. I understand that, but the fact that we now also have the ability to utilize this real tone capability, that's an incredibly again blurring the lines, right? Because Apple and Google doing the same thing, really
Right,
trying to win,
right
trying
there.
to get the largest user base, and that's really the main draw to folks. It's not 4G, it's not LTE, it's not 5G. It really is. It's it's how good is the screen.
Mhm.
My Google just woke up. I don't know what I did to trigger off my Google there, but maybe I just said her
I
name
think
right
you
there.
said hey, and I
Oh
thought
my
you were
gosh!
talking to
What are
it.
you going? This is live streaming, folks. Google is chiming in with the new operating system. Isn't that now going to be no longer a key as well? You can tell it to not kick off with the "Hey Google" command. All right, let's do this. Let's get into Google I/O because
Okay.
I got my device, I got my Nest device kicking in right here when it's not supposed to. Next thing you know, my HomePod's going to kick in. I don't know what's happening. So let's
You
talk
have both
about
a
these devices.
HomePod and a Google.
I I got Alexa upstairs. I mean, I still don't want to talk louder because even though she's upstairs, I got Alexa upstairs. I got Google over here. I got HomePod, mini pod behind me. It's a melting pot in this studio right now. That's one thing for sure. So let's go down the list of what IO did. in terms of announcements, and talk about the fact, you covered Google I/O. Talk about what Google I/O is, and if you can talk about kind of the highlights, and I'll bring those on screen as well.
Well, Google I/O is a developers conference, so just like WWDC for you iPhone, fanatics, which is kind of like a mixed conference, and they do announce hardware. The difference is that Google I/O in the past has been just uh, to talk about to talk to developers about new advancements, new technologies that they could implement into their apps. However, this year's I/O was completely different. This year's I/O was very hardware focused, which is something that is very, it's not, it's not what Google does. Like Google does not use I/O for these kind of announcements. But apparently things are about to change, and things are, going to be more like it is in the Apple ecosystem, where they actually announce hardware or pre-announce hardware in Google I/O. So this year in Google I/O, they announced, gosh, I want to say about five or six new things that are hardware that they.
And
I can't
things
hear
that
you.
we've been waiting for,
Yeah, things
right?
that we've been.
Well, we as I'm gonna put the Apple hat on. Things that we the Apple folks have been waiting for, and again, if you haven't seen this yet, folks, JoJo's but blow your mind that you may want to take another look at Google. So I'll bring it up here.
So we have the Pixel 6a. They announced. Yeah, you don't have it up. Yeah, there it is. Pixel 6a, which is the kind of like the iPhone SE. It's the budget version of the Pixel. So this is the phone you want if you want to, if you don't want to put a case on your phone, if you want a plastic back, if you don't want
Mm.
to spend too much money, if you don't want to make a big commitment. This is the phone to get. The 6A usually has the same look as the flagship. So it's going to look exactly like the Pixel 7, which was pre-announced as well. But it's not going to have the aluminum finish. It's not going to have the same amount of cameras. They do cut some corners, but if you look at it, it looks exactly like a flagship.
Yeah, I mean, it's you think about it too. You get a lot of the you get the operating system. You're
You get
getting
the
Android 13, I believe, is the next one that's released. So you're getting
Mhm.
that. You may not get the fastest processor. You may not get macro, telephoto, and all of the lenses, but you got enough.
Ultra wide and all that.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that's good enough for 80% of the people out there. To be honest with you, right? And 90% of us put a case on our phone anyway. So plastic versus aluminum versus whatever else material that one of these manufacturers want to utilize. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah. And then they pre-announced the Pixel 7, which is the new
Oh,
flagship. Now
come on, talk about the 7, because
yeah,
this
the
one. Let me sit
7,
up straight. Let me.
they didn't say much. So all we have the pictures. We see what it looks like. We know that it's brushed aluminum.
You look
We
at you see
see,
I'm subscribed, right? Old
yeah,
iOS guy.
yep, yeah, you subscribe. You want to get those updates. But they didn't give us much information. They're trying to keep, this mystery, with the Pixel 7. So we don't know much about the specs. We don't know. We can see that it has at least three cameras. I think I
Hmm.
see three cameras, but that's pretty much all we know. And we know that there's going to be a 7 and a 7 Pro. And the 7 Pro is usually a bigger phone
Right.
with one extra camera, and it's got well, this year's Pixel 6, for example, the Pixel 6, the regular one has like a flat screen, but the Pixel 6 Pro has kind of like Samsung with the edges that kind of cascade down. So I think it's going to be probably the same thing with the 7. The 7 Pro is going to have the extra curvy screen. However, we don't know much about the specs. We don't know how much RAM. We don't know. They're not giving us any details. They want to keep us guessing. We know that it's going to be released in the fall,
Yeah.
and then the Pixel 6a is coming out. Well, it's going to be next month, I believe.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Well,
we're
it
going to
was
be
next month.
yeah.
And you definitely know as well from a consumer perspective, they're going to be out by holiday time. Right. So
Of
they're going to
course,
be out
it's
by the
usually
time you want to put one
October.
of
Yeah,
these
usually
underneath somebody's
October.
tree. So
Yeah.
uh, did they say, and again, I didn't catch the part in particular, again, speaking of the phones, if they were going to be specific carriers, were they just going to be on AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, or something like that?
They didn't say anything, but usually, I don't know if AT&T carries the Pixels. I know that T-Mobile does,
Hmm.
and I think that Verizon does, but I'm not sure about AT&T. But they did not talk about that in I/O.
Okay.
They
Okay.
kept it more with, announcing and, building the excitement with the developers and the people, because they knew people were watching online, because not everybody gets to go to IO,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
those of us that were watching online, we were waiting for the announcements. We were very, and you know which one, because you saw my video, you know which one I was the most excited about
Yes.
out of all the things that they announced. But there were things that they announced that we were not expecting. And we were just very shocked. We didn't know that there was a tablet. We didn't
Yeah.
know that they were gonna be releasing, new Pixel Buds. We didn't know any of that.
Didn't know we needed new buds, but when
No.
you got active noise canceling, that again that puts them on scale and
Yeah.
on par with the iPod. Well, I mean with the
Mhm.
AirPods, right?
With the
When you
AirPods
got
Pro.
that piece and you got the spatial audio, man, that again it starts blurring the lines. I think again in terms of the ecosystem. But um, what was that one device that you were specifically interested
Oh,
in? Because that's what I'm
the
interested. Oh
watch.
Lord, I thought you
This
had
is
it
not a
on. I was gonna
Pixel
say
Watch.
no, you
This is
don't.
not
I
a
was gonna say
Pixel
no,
Watch.
you.
This
Yes,
is a
come
this
on.
is a Wear OS watch, but it's not a Pixel watch.
Okay, okay. Is it
So
like a
yes,
fossil or something that you're wearing?
it's a fossil.
Got
Yes,
you. Okay.
yes.
See, I know.
So yeah,
The Apple guy knows. Okay.
yeah.
Talk about
So
this right here.
yeah,
This
I
Google
mean,
Pixel Watch. So this is intriguing, folks. Pay close attention. Put your credit cards down though, because it's not ready yet. But let Joe talk to you a little bit about it.
this we've been waiting so long for a Wear OS watch, like a Pixel watch, that it just seemed like the thing that everyone talked about, but we thought it was just an unreachable goal. Like
Yeah,
we were never gonna get it, and then it's finally here. We don't know how much it's gonna cost, but who cares? We're gonna buy it.
that's true.
We don't know. They didn't give us any details, like what processor. Like we have gotten some rumors, like some. There's been some reports on it's gonna have the same. It's gonna have the same chip as the Samsung, not the latest Samsung, but it's going to be an Exynos. Can't remember what the number is of the model,
Okay.
but it's going to be a 4-year old chip, so it's not going to be a new chip, but it's going to have a co-processor that is going to be offloading some of the work from the main processor, and it's going to have apparently more RAM than any Wear OS watch has ever had, even the Samsung. So it's supposed to be a lot faster than the Samsung,
And
but we
when
don't
you,
know.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't really give us much more than that. They gave us some screenshots of what it's gonna look
Yeah.
like, the UI, but that's pretty much it.
Come on, just teasing us, wet and whistle a little bit. But the thing is that when the manufacturer is the same manufacturer of the entire ecosystem, the entire hardware, that integration can't be beat.
Yeah,
Right? Apple making their phones and their watches and their AirPods, it gets no better than that. Yeah, yeah, you can use all these other products as well, but now that Google has the big three themselves, they got the watch with the phone,
yeah,
with the earbuds. That right there really starts again blurring that line and making folks consider bouncing back and forth or maybe switching.
yeah,
A high percentage of folks use Gmail instead of iCloud on the
mhm,
iOS side. Look, I live in the G apps and in G Suite and things of that nature, right? As opposed to even the iCloud environment. I use Google Sheets, Google Docs, all of that, just again because yeah, more people on the planet may have. Well, that's an interesting statement. Even me saying that, I'm gonna say more people on the planet have an Apple device, but more people on the planet use Google
Google
technology, right?
Google
So
software. Yeah.
how, what is that though? That's weird. Why is that? Why do so many more people have this but live in the Google ecosystem as opposed to using iCloud, Pages,
I think
Keynote?
I think it's because Gmail is free and a lot of the Google
Good
stuff
Lord,
is
go ahead with
free.
that. That's it right there. When you reach into the wallet, that's it right there. What is
Yeah,
free?
I mean,
Good
I
Lord.
mean, being an Apple fan is expensive.
I know.
I know. I used
Hey,
to be one.
I drink to that. Drinking out of my old look. Oh my god, my old Apple mug here. This is
Look at that. Look at
a
that.
30-year-old mug here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh.
Yeah, so Google basically they're calling this whole thing, this ecosystem, they're calling it the Pixel portfolio.
Mm.
Because I guess I don't want to use the word ecosystem because Apple says Apple is Apple ecosystem, so they can't use the same thing.
True,
They have
true,
to
true.
they have to be
Forgive me
different.
for using Apple acronyms and things like
Yeah.
that, but yeah.
But going back to that, using their making their own hardware, and now they're making their own chip because the Pixel 6 was the first Pixel phone that had Google's own SoC, which is Tensor. It's called Tensor.
Hmm.
But it's been kind of a rocky start with the first generation of the chip. We've had, as a Pixel user, I've gone through some, hiccups. There's been some bugs. There's been things that they've had to work out. But they announced that with the Pixel 7, it's going to have the second generation. So this is where they get to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
And we'll see. And leadership is in place and doing some decent things. But so rolling out this hardware and announcing this hardware helps, right? Alleviate some of those concerns, some of those doubts. And again, I apologize for my voice sounding a little bit weird, folks that are listening. Again, I'm 95% off of this thing, right? I'm almost back to normal, but I'm at 95% here now. Let me ask you about some of the other things. Pulling back the curtain of the infrastructure and the hardware, it's really the software that drives all of this. Talk about Android 13. Talk about what some of the things that are coming out from what people don't know that they're touching every day. When this new release of the operating system comes out, some of the new features and functionalities coming out in Android 13.
Yeah, Android 13 is not that different. The big update for us was Android 12, which is what we already have. Android 13 builds on Android 12. It has kind of like the same look. It has more theming options. It has a new file picker. So when you pick photos, it's going to look a little bit different. It's going to have more security. So basically, you can manage permissions better now when you install an app. You have better options on what access you want to give an app. But there's not a lot that we can say, wow, this is a big update. This is going to make the whole difference. Uh, Android 12 was that update for us that made things look completely different, and
Yeah.
it felt like I can't remember which one was the iOS update that changed the whole look of iOS. That they got rid of the 3D icons and everything started going flat.
Yeah,
It,
that
it,
when
it
was
felt
that?
kind
That
of like
was
that.
that's true because it allowed us to have multiple pages as well. That was a couple of years back, but yeah, you're right. That was a complete game changer in terms of just functionality, usability, and just
Mhm.
soreness on the eyes because it just made it much better to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I know that you hinted and talked a little bit about that tablet, the Pixel tablet. Did we
Yeah,
need it? Did we need a tablet?
I don't think
How many
so.
more tablets?
I'm
I
curious.
know you don't work there in Mountain View. You're not there in HQ or anything. But do we really need a whole different new tablet?
No, and if the tablet looks the way that they teased it,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
come on. You're like, come on, man.
is that really what you're going to release? But there's a theory. I don't know if you heard the theory.
What is that?
There's a theory. I don't know if you saw, I guess, the really short video that they showed the tablet. It looks a lot like the front of a Google Nest Hub with the white bezels.
Yeah.
So there's been rumors that they're developing a Nest Hub that has a detachable screen. And when you look at this
Okay.
tablet, when you look at pictures of it, the back has pogo pins that attach to something. So a lot of people are saying,
Hold
is
on,
this
man.
what that is? And they don't want to say it yet.
Hold
So
on, man.
I think it's going to be a dual device. It's going to be a tablet slash. Yeah.
you sparking some rumors over here. Hold on,
No,
man.
that's that. I didn't start that rumor. That's what people are saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jojo the Techie is sparking rumors about
That's
Google here.
that's what people are saying, and I believe it. I think it's very plausible.
So a detachable or attachable to a home device is okay. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. We'll see.
Yeah,
Again, I just
we'll
and
see.
what
Yeah,
was the size on this thing? That this was like 12 inch.
I don't think they said. I don't think they provided anything other than the video unveiling
Yeah.
the sides and the front, and that's it.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I
But they're putting a
considering.
lot of they're putting a lot of effort in making sure that developers develop apps for tablet sizes.
Yeah.
So they're really pushing for this. So there something's cooking. We don't know what it is, but something's going on because they're really pushing to make sure that they have Android 12, 12L, which is supposed to be for like larger devices, and they're really pushing for developers to get on that and just make all their apps tablet friendly.
Right.
Which we all thought that it was for Chromebooks because we do have Chromebook tablets, but apparently they really want to hone in on that Android tablet market.
Got you. Got you. That's an excellent segue, and I want to pivot into Chrome, Chrome OS, and kind of that draw that it had for you, because again, you spend a lot of time focusing on, as I said, kind of in the on the monologue, the ease of use, the capabilities. We got Chrome OSs in elementary schools, high schools, middle schools across the country, across the globe,
Everywhere.
and there's a reason for that, to have those as opposed to Windows 10 or Windows 11 device, or even a MacBook Air. So talk to us a little bit about what you see as the power of the Chrome operating system, and why it's so popular in those types of environments, and where do you maybe see it going in the short, mid, and long term.
Well, for schools, for example, in that market, I think the big draw is the ease of use and the security. Um, if you've used Windows before, you know what happens when you get a new PC. Setting it up, you have to spend almost a whole afternoon, just installing the latest updates, just installing all the programs that you want. That doesn't happen in Chrome OS. You buy the Chromebook, you log in with your Google account, and you're ready to go. All the apps that you want are on the web. So you just set it and you start working with it and you're done. For students, for example, there's no time, and there's no money in the school system to hire a person to just start setting up computers, PCs, Macs, for all these students just for them to break it. Um, that's why, this is such a big thing. Plus, it's a lower price. So that's why this is so big in the education market. Now in the enterprise market, which is, where I'm coming from,
Mm-hmm.
we use Chromebooks all the time. And the big thing for us was money. The company didn't want to have to, especially during COVID. This was a big thing during COVID. When during the lockdowns,
Yeah.
we gave everybody a Chromebook, and
Really?
we
Okay.
gave we gave every single person a Chromebook, and we told them, okay, this is the portal where you're going to log in, and you're going to get all your applications and everything is on a virtual server. Everything is in Citrix, so all you have to do is log into
Yeah.
Citrix,
It's a VDI
and that's it.
environment. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all you have to do. How much did these Chromebooks cost? um, $200-300. Of course, there's all kinds of Chromebooks. You're gonna have those are your low level Chromebooks. We didn't need anything more than that. But I have a Chromebook that's about $500. There's Chromebooks that are over $1,000. So it
Right.
depends
Right.
on what you want. Now those Chromebooks that are over $1,000. That's like that's when you want to get into Linux development because you can run on a Chromebook. You can run Linux and you can run Android apps. So it's like three
Yeah.
OSs in one.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that, because that differentiation right there. Again, folks go to Best Buy and they see a Chromebook and it's $200, and then they turn their head and they see another one from Samsung or from HP or from whomever, and it's $800-900. It's not just the build material, right? Again, it's not just the plastic versus the aluminum. It's the same
Yeah.
operating system, but the connectivity, the ports, the battery life. I mean, talk a little bit about, again, what are those differentiating factors between a $250, I don't want to give anybody's name, like I'll say it, Lenovo. Shouts out to
Mhm.
Lenovo. $250 Lenovo Chromebook versus an HP or a Dell Chromebook that may cost 3 or 4 times more.
Well, the bigger difference is going to be the chip and the RAM.
Yeah, there you go.
If you see that a Chromebook has 2 gigs of RAM, you're gonna spend a hell of a lot of time trying to load up a web page.
Tell the
You know,
truth right there, right? There it
especially on
is.
Chrome, especially with Chrome, because we
Yeah.
know Chrome is a RAM hog. So you really do need a decent amount of RAM, at least 4 gigs. That's like the minimum that you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
And like you said, also the build materials. If you see like that Samsung Galaxy Chromebook, that red one that is super expensive, and you see a Chromebook that is a piece of plastic and you hold it and it bends, and then the keyboard when you type on it, you feel the keys kind of like just going right into the Chromebook. It's
Something's wrong.
that's not going to be
Something's not right. Right.
it's not going to be a great experience. Now, for a kid who's going to break it anyways, they're going to drop it.
Yeah.
That's probably okay. If all they're going to do is log in to, read stuff and I guess go into Google Docs, type up an essay, that's probably going to be good enough. Say 229, 129.
Yeah. $129 for an Acer. But again, you're talking.
Another thing that people don't realize, and this has to get better. Chromebooks have an expiration date. Chromebooks don't last forever, but there's no way for people to tell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got. I'm listening intently right there. I didn't know about that. Talk about that. I stopped everything
yeah.
when you said they got an expiration date. Talk to me
I
about that.
believe a Chromebook. I believe a Chromebook. Chrome OS, I guess it's a licensing thing. The Chrome OS operating system is licensed for a certain amount of time on that device. It has an
Wow.
expiration date, yes. So when that time is over, you can still use it, but you will not get any more updates. So your Chromebook is going to be out of date. So you're going to be open to new viruses, anything that's, bad things happening because you
Yeah.
don't have the latest and greatest, security features. So a lot of people will see a Chromebook for $129 and they'll be like, "Oh, that's great." And they don't realize it's marked down because it's about to expire.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to expire in a year. So you're only going to get a year's worth of that device.
I saw one of those that said kind of exactly that. Right. Get markdown, reduced price. So that whole
Yeah.
thing. But again, it's tough to have this conversation again, and you've been in this world, right? You've been on the
Mhm.
on the Apple side, and this goes directly to kind of what Kevin's talking about, kind of being spoiled since going Apple. Spending $809 for a certified refurbished 12.3-inch, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gig hard drive Chromebook, when you could get a MacBook Air, when you can get maybe even a MacBook Pro. So the value proposition between or having both of those, and I wonder if you ever have to have that kind of a conversation with folks, because again, that $809, I'm thinking that's more going to be on the enterprise side as opposed to again something that you'd buy for
Yeah.
your elementary, middle school, or high school kid, or someone even maybe going to college. I don't know. You correct me. I'm trying to be the not to
No,
doubting
no,
Thomas, but just to have the conversation in terms of again, why would I spend an
no,
$809 for a refurbed Chromebook when I can go get a MacBook Air, or MacBook Pro, whatever the case may be, brand new for the
for a
same thing.
thousand. Yeah. No, and I completely agree. Like I said, even I had to buy a MacBook. I have a MacBook Air, which is what I use for my video editing, and I have
Yeah,
my Chromebook. I used to use my Chromebook. Well, not this one that I have now. I used to use a different Chromebook for video editing in Linux. But
that's
that
too
was
cool.
me because I
You too
have to.
cool.
Because I had a goal that I had to make it work.
Yeah,
But not everyone is going to sit there and do that.
yeah.
So not everyone is going to be.
Not
How do I
everybody's
enable it?
firing up Ubuntu and putting it on their putting it
Yeah.
on their Chromebook or Red Hat. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So if I had a lot of people come up to me, at my previous job asking me, what should I buy? What should I get for my son who is in 4th grade and they're saying that he has to log into school to do virtual school.
Mm-hmm.
A Chromebook is fine. You
Yeah,
can buy a Chromebook for your son. You don't need anything else. Now, if they're telling me that they need to install Adobe Photoshop, of course, I'm not going to recommend a Chromebook because you cannot install Adobe Photoshop on a Chromebook yet.
yeah. But good. But you know what? I'm going to interject, and I apologize. I shouldn't do it, but there's still value in what the Chrome OS does, because a lot of times, even now, on these devices, on my MacBook Pro, I'm not installing as many devices as I'm using cloud operating environments. Right, my whole Adobe Creative Suite, it's the Creative Cloud. It's right. It's cloud based. It's not actually installed locally on my machine. The iCloud apps, Pages, Keynote, um, Sheets, all of that. I don't even run the local apps. I access it from the web environment. So there's still value in that, not having to directly load or install
There
anything,
is,
like,
and
except for
and
the Microsoft stuff. Good
there's
Lord, you
value
always
in
got to install
having
Microsoft stuff.
yeah, and there's value in having an operating system that's not going to give you trouble. Like you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about getting a virus. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about mostly everything that you plug in is plug and play. You don't have to worry about downloading
Mm.
drivers. You don't have to worry. It just takes the headache away from having a PC. All that
We are
trouble of
not
doing.
PC fans, are we? Neither one of us.
No, we're not PC. Even though I had to use one all my life, but
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of trouble.
We had to go
Um,
through the struggle, right, to
yeah.
understand what's better out there in life. And
So for me, when I get home and I want to like sit down and watch a YouTube video, I get my Chromebook. I just pretty much everything I use is online.
mm-hmm.
Like I said, your email, everything is on the cloud. Um, Everything is accessible. If you log into another Chromebook, you have your stuff right there. You don't have to reinstall your apps. You don't have to set everything up again. You can go log in. You can go to your parents' house or
Yeah.
somebody else's house. Log in, and you're in because a Chromebook and it can be shared between multiple people, like, and you all have your individual profiles, and there's no like it's very there's no friction. Everything just works really easily. There's updates now every 4 weeks, so your Chromebook is always going to be up to date, as long as it's not an expired
Right.
Chromebook.
Right. As long as you
um
don't have one that's at the tail end of
yeah,
its useful
yeah, as long
life.
as you don't have one, yeah. And that's the thing that's worrying, because the Chromebooks don't have anything on the outside, at least, that the people can see that are buying it, telling you when it's going to expire.
Mm.
Once you log in, you can check, but not everybody knows where to check. And there's a website where you can go and check, a Google website where you can go and check the model and see when it expires. But unless you're in this, in this technology world, you don't know any better. And you could be stuck with a Chromebook that's going to be expiring in a few months, and then that's it. What are you going to do? Throw it in the trash?
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's the value right there, folks. There's a teachable moment. I always look for a teachable moment in my live streams, and JoJo has just brought it right there.
Check check the
You'll go to Best
expiration.
Buy, and you'll see something in the open box, and it's $100. So old school Chromebook, and you don't know by the time you get it home if 3 days later, 3 weeks later, that it's an expiring operating system environment. I'm sure you talk about some of that stuff on
Yeah.
your website and on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something? Because I was actually going to point over to
I was
your
going to
Chrome
say
site.
that it's not so much an expiration date. It's just that you will stop getting updates
Okay.
after a certain date.
Good differentiation. Good different.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jojo the Techie, content creator extraordinaire, right? Doing your thing out there in these streets, educating folks, consumers and businesses and individuals and executives on what is Google, what is the Android operating environment. Talk to us a little bit about
That is
Jojo the Techie.com.
So Jojo the Techie was born out of a lot of boredom during COVID times. I needed a hobby, and I was like, oh, let me start a YouTube channel. What do I know? What do I know? What can I talk about? Technology and Chromebooks, because that's what I love. So that's how the channel was born. I kind of just, I think I just started with like a review of a phone. I think I got a Pixel phone, a new Pixel phone, and that was, I think, my first review, and I liked it, and I started, just making videos and making videos and making videos, and here you are. It's gonna be 2 years now that the channel has been on YouTube, and it's doing well.
I was going to say I was waiting for you to say that piece right there. You blowing it up out here. Let's not be humble on the live stream. You doing your thing out here with some high quality content. And again,
Thank you.
these tutorials, these understanding the environment, understanding the ecosystem, the operating system, all that. This is what the consumer needs, and you're providing that, and you're getting you're seeing the fruits of that labor, right? You're doing reviews,
Yes.
unboxing, things of that nature. So yeah, I will definitely make sure that a link to your site, your website, and your YouTube channel are in the description, so folks can check that out. What you got? Any new gear? You got any new unboxings that you're getting into?
Oh, I
Look at you
do, but
looking over there. Amazon probably showed up
I
today with
cannot
something, didn't
show them.
they? Yeah, Amazon showed up
But I
today.
yeah, my God, Amazon, I am single-handedly keeping them in business because
They
I
know you
buy
by
so
first
much from
name.
them.
When the driver pulls up to the house and they say, "Hey,
They know
here goes
me,
something for you,
yes.
Jojo." Man,
Yes, it's getting to the point where I have to sell stuff so that I can buy more stuff because you know, the money that we need money for that.
but you got to do it, and a
Yes.
handful of folks that are in the audience right now know again because we are literally going through that right now. Not necessarily about mobile devices or laptops, but Rode just came out with their new Rodecaster Pro 2.
Oh, the 2, yes,
And
I saw that, yeah.
yeah, listen, handful of us put our pre-order in already. So as soon as it is finished being built and shipped from Australia, you're going to start seeing a ton of us doing Rodecaster Pro 2 videos and unboxings and selling the original
Yes.
one that we have. I don't know. That's just what we do. But
Yeah.
being technologists like you and like me and like a handful of other folks probably watching, it's our duty, I think, right, to stay in front and to stay abreast of what's going on with a lot of these releases. So what Apple is releasing, what Google is releasing, what Rode or
Mhm.
Shure or whomever. Um, that way we can be that subject matter expert to our community and have the conversation. I can't
Yes,
talk
yes.
about the Rodecaster Pro 2 if I don't physically have it. I can't just look at somebody else's video and piece together something. I just doesn't work. Right. I
Right.
don't consider myself to be qualified if I haven't actually physically touched it and almost tried to break it kind of thing. So
That's right, yeah. So yeah, I have been known to buy, more than I'm supposed to, and you know,
yeah,
get a stern talking to about, how we're not supposed to spend that much money, but it's like I say, I'm in this industry, so this is my job now. I have to know what I'm talking about. I can't just, like you said, I can't just talk about a pixel and not have a pixel.
there it is.
What am I, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Just rehash somebody else's
Yeah,
video? You know?
look at you a little differently right now. I'm like, nah, she's
Yeah.
not. She just pontificates. Man, I've never used that. That's a big word. Oh, well,
Yeah.
which one are you getting? You going 6A? You going 7 Pro? Which one you getting?
Oh, I'm going 7, but before the 7, I'm getting the watch for
Okay,
sure.
okay,
And I have to see what's going on with the 7 before I make a decision. But I say that every year, and I still buy it anyways. I trade the other one in,
yeah,
and then I and then I upgrade every year. Who are
yes.
we kidding? I'm gonna upgrade anyways.
Well, now do you do that? So this is an interesting question. I'm not even looking at the notes that I had of the questions I was going to ask, but this is an interesting segue because a lot of other folks do this as well. Do you upgrade yourself, like maybe sell your old one, or do you do a program through your cellular provider of you lease it for the 2 years and then can trade in, trade up kind of thing? How do you? What's the easiest
So
way for you to move to new hardware?
up to now, I've always been buying my phones cash, like, just from the website,
Okay,
from the
yeah,
Google website,
yeah,
and they have a trade-in program, so I traded in through Google.
okay.
And then basically I have to send it in, and then they send me the money, whatever money they're going to give me back for it. But next year I'm thinking I could, because I just changed carriers to T-Mobile. So for the 7, I'm going to see if they have it, and then I'm going to probably go the carrier route, and hopefully they have the watch because there
T-Mobile
is a
Tuesday.
cellular
That's
model.
why you switched T-Mobile Tuesdays, right? Listen, I wish T-Mobile worked on my street. It works across the street and around the corner, but when I pull up in
Oh,
my driveway, I lose signal, and I just want T-Mobile Tuesdays for the go flight incentive, right? So when
okay.
we're flying and traveling, folks, you get free internet in the sky, and
Yeah.
one of the offerings is go flight. And man,
Well,
if T-Mobile worked,
T-Mobile right now is giving me free Netflix. It's giving me free Apple
come
TV
on.
Plus. and it's giving me free Paramount Plus.
Say
So
that. She said
I'm
free
not switching.
Netflix. That's 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 $20 a month. That's 19.99. That's what I'm paying, right? But again, every single month, 19.99 for Netflix.
Hmm.
Free. You're paying for it some kind of way, but it's nice not to
Yeah,
have to cut another
they just
subscription.
added they added to they yeah, I guess, but they pay for like the base plan. So if you want like
Okay.
uh anything extra, basically they just add it onto your bill. And then you get a free year of Apple TV Plus, and then you get a free
Oh
year of Paramount
man, that's
Plus.
so cool. That's so cool. Come on, T-Mobile, put some more towers up in the Roseville, California area. Come on, I'm trying to diversify what I have because I got to figure out how and why or if I'm gonna get two devices. I'm not leaving the Apple ecosystem because I'm too ingrained into it, but I do want to have that other device, right? Just to see
Yeah.
how far it's come. It's been a while since I've been on the Android side, and I'm actually very curious. And now that again, like I said, it's got everything, all the hardware, all the infrastructure together. I'd really like to see how that works.
I would say that if you want to, or not just you, but anyone that's looking to just try it out, see if they like it, maybe the 6A will be a good option because it's not going to
Mm,
be that expensive. It's probably going to be thinking 399 or 389. It's going to be 300 ish, that phone. So you can, if you don't want to make a big commitment and you just want to try it out, that will be the perfect phone for you to see if you like the Pixel, the operating system,
yeah,
because the Pixel operating system is not the way the I guess the Pixel flavor of Android is not the same as Samsung. It's not the same as, Apple or all those other manufacturers. Everyone has their own flavor of
yeah.
Android. It's not the same.
That's
So
that's that's an excellent point. So let's revert and talk about that because again, you get stock Android with
It's
Google.
not really stock Android.
Okay,
But it's the closest thing to stock Android.
okay.
Yes, it's the closest thing. It's Google's version of what Android should be. So this is because Android is just, not even stock. Nobody has stock Android,
Okay.
but the Pixel has the closest version of what Google intended Android to be. And there's others that are very similar. Like I think, um, what was that one that now was bought by? Um, Not Apple. There's another company that has a very similar version of the Pixel, but they got bought out by another company. So now I can't remember the
Not
name.
OnePlus, was it? No.
OnePlus, yeah,
Was it?
they
Okay.
got
Yeah.
bought by which company? I can't remember which company bought them.
I can't
It,
remember. I wish LG was still making devices with because they
I
made some
know,
cool
yeah,
devices with the multiple screens and the flip. But
yeah.
yeah, it was OnePlus because they were a technology startup too, right? They came out of the blue and had some great devices, but
And now there's going to be a nothing phone from that company, Nothing.
nothing. What? Now you see you're making stuff up now.
No,
I brought you on as a subject
that's
matter
very
expert,
real.
and now
You can
you're
look
just
it up
picking stuff
after
out of the
this.
sky.
No,
The
the
whole
company is
credibility
called
of the
Nothing.
show has now gone left. She said it. The nothing. I need to check. Hold on. The
It's
nothing phone.
actually Carl Pei, the OnePlus guy
Oh my
that started
gosh.
that company.
Jojo the
Nothing,
Techie knows what she's talking about.
nothing phone. Yeah, there's a nothing phone.
There's a nothing phone, folks. Hold on. Let me. This is coming in the summertime. The nothing
Yeah,
phone
we
confirms
don't know what it
plan to
looks
launch
like, but
Phone One, its first and highly anticipated smartphone product, powered by the Snapdragon Nothing phone, is the second device in the company. Oh my god. I'm just here pulling strings like the Wizard of Oz. JoJo is the one dropping all the knowledge, folks. She came out with the nothing phone, and I'm like, she's so crazy. Okay.
yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of different, flavors of Android, but if you want the closest to what Google meant it to be, it's got to be a Pixel. And if
Yeah.
you want timely updates, you want to get your Android updates when they're released by Google, the Pixels are usually the first to get it. Samsung is getting very good now at releasing them like right after or sometime. I think there was one time that they beat the Pixel by a day and they got the update first. But usually the Pixel will get the update before
Yeah.
because, the manufacturers need time to put their own little spin on it and their own skin and, whatever
Right. Right.
customizations they do, which I'm not a fan of, which is why I stick to Pixel
Yeah,
phones.
all that bloatware that was a huge concern
Yeah.
that I had as well when I was like rocking Samsung Galaxies or thing, and the fact that it took them so long to get OS updates, right? The
Mhm.
third party manufacturers, the LGs, the Samsungs, the Nokia,
Yes.
Motorola's. Look, I had the old school Motorola's back in the day too. I'm old. I'm seasoned. Right? I've been around the block a handful. So Motorola, yeah. You remember the Motorola phone that had the stuff that clamped on the accessories that had like a
Oh yeah.
camera. It had
Oh yeah.
different lens. That's what I'm talking
I'm
about.
old. I'm old too. I
Come on now.
remember.
Come on now. We
I
we,
remember.
we
I
remember.
I had a beeper.
Oh.
I'm from
Oh
the
my
beeper
God, we
days.
talking about the old beaver days, right? Okay,
Yes.
you know, air touch, singular. Man, we can
Oh
sit
my
back here and
goodness.
some
Oh,
folks in the audience probably don't know what in the world is we talking about. Beeper. What
singular
is that?
wireless.
Two-way communicate. What? Yeah, the old two
Which was
ways too. Remember the old two
which
ways
was the
where you could
one with the
send alerts?
rollover minutes? Which was the one that offered rollover minutes?
That was air
Was it
touch? Or
I think it was singular.
when you had to worry about using up all your minutes every month, and then you're like, man, don't be using up all my data minutes every month, and then someone came out with unlimited minutes. Yeah, the rollover. Golly, that was back. Look where we've
Yeah.
come, and so not of a long term, right?
Yeah.
It's
And now
not
you
that
just
long
have
that
to
we've
have a
gone
Wi-Fi.
from having beepers and bag phones and that kind of things to having smart devices. That's
I
pretty funny.
remember when it was a pain. Well, you had to have something put away if you wanted to call your family at a different country. Like my family, when they were all back in the DR, we had to kind of like make sure we had at least $20 for a calling card so we could call our family.
Yeah,
And now you just
no.
have to use WhatsApp, and that's it.
That's true. That's true. So I've been using WhatsApp for that particular reason. Well, for two reasons. Because, yeah, it's more internationally recognized and for the encryption capability. So, I mean, that's an interesting statement right there that you made right there from a mobile application perspective using WhatsApp. And again, free, right? And it's not just uh, phone, it's text, you can send files in WhatsApp as well. I mean, it's a whole communication system built into one application. And the fact that
Mhm.
I'd rather use WhatsApp than what's the other one? The one that's owned by Facebook.
Uh,
I'm not a Facebook fan.
oh, Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
No, there's another one. Well, yeah, I'm deaf. Folks, a couple of folks here in the comments actually keep sending me, hey brother, I'm not gonna call you out. Don't send me messages because I don't do that. Hit me up an email. I just me and Facebook. Oh my gosh, me and Zuckerberg. I will never get a sponsorship from Facebook and Meta just because I continue to talk so much madness about him. But there's an app similar to WhatsApp that I think Facebook owns.
Well, I know they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp, but I don't know what other
They're not okay.
company they own.
I don't know, but yeah, me and I have issues. I have nightmares about just
Yeah.
what
I
Zuckerberg is
know
doing with
I
all
know
of
that
our
there's Telegram and Signal that people
Signal.
use.
That's the other one.
Is
That's
it
the other
Signal?
encrypted one.
Okay.
That's actually pretty good too. Okay, okay. I'm like a squirrel, right? I'm deviating. We were supposed to be talking about Google I/O, and now we're talking about beepers and bag phones. Folks, you got any questions for JoJo? She is here talking about nothing phones, talking about smart watches from Google, talking about talking about trying to get me to switch over to these Pixel 7s. It may happen, or I may just go ahead and do like you said, listen to the expert and get the 6A just so I can say I have another device in my pocket. Um, what you
Swap
got
out
going
that SIM
next?
card.
Yeah, what you got? Tell us about some of the things that you're doing. I know we didn't want to focus on this piece, but you're doing some other aspects and you're doing some other work in terms of providing content as well, not just on your website and your YouTube channel. But I mean, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the other aspects that you're doing with the work over at Chrome Unboxed.
Yeah, so I'm a staff writer at Chrome on Box. Chrome on Box is a website that focuses mainly on Chrome and Chrome OS and anything in the Google ecosystem. So you'll find my articles there. I'm a full staff writer, so I basically that's what I do all day. Besides my YouTube channel, I am just a writer now. I no longer work in desktop support, but I put all my energy into helping people by writing articles with some how tos and just reporting the news on what's going on in the Google world.
You out there, you killing it. Folks, y'all need, y'all need to Google Jojo the Techie. Right,
Right?
I mean that
Google me.
literally and figuratively, right? She out there doing these things, man. Um, I thank you for taking some time. Again, I really just wanted to chop it up with you for a long time to hear your perspective on the other side of the fence, right? Again, because I'm so ingrained and involved in the Apple ecosystem, but and then it just seemed like the right time when they came out with these earbuds that actually had the active noise canceling, that actually had spatial audio.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're getting much better now. You got the Google Photos piece coming into the operating environment, right? So not just
Mhm.
for pixels, but like okay, so now you actually have the true tone coloring and things like that for skin tone. And saying okay, that's pretty cool too. And then it was the watch. Man, that was the thing that we've all been waiting for, really, just to see if when Google would come out with theirs, so we don't have to have the Fossil and the Samsung and the Fitbit and all of that. Those are all great products as well, but we really wanted to see something coming out of Mountain View from Google saying this is our
Mhm.
watch that is our integrates with all of our platforms and all of our ecosystems. So um, you'll get yours before me, just because you're an insider. I'm just outside lurking, heckling from the back of the room. But when you get yours, let's connect again,
All
because
right. Sounds
I would
good.
love to know your reaction, were your expectations met, especially when you
Mhm.
start using that one instead of your Fossil watch. So close us out and tell us again real quick where folks can find you, what you got coming up next, and um, what's going on in JoJo's world.
Well, I am everywhere. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I am on Facebook as Jojo the Techie. It's the same username everywhere. My website is jojothetechie.com, and the YouTube channel is Jojo the Techie. And if you want to read some of my articles, I am at chromeonbox.com.
Love it, love it. I gotta go have a cup of tea or something, right? I
Oh my
can't do
God.
any more of
Hope you
these
feel
interviews.
better.
It's horrible, folks. Man, take care of yourself. Be good, because man, this thing that I got right here is no fun. Jojo, you're amazing. You're awesome. I appreciate you.
Thank you so
Appreciate you for
much.
everything that you
Thank you
do
so
as
much for
well.
having me.
All right, now be good.
All right. Have a great day.